Getting them all spilled. So get your pots and pans ready. Get the fire lit because we're spilling some beans. You're gonna want to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We are back. This is the at Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly. See, and here I am Gabriel Anders, and I am with two voices that you heard. So my regular co-host Richie Vegas and stand-in JP, my old commentary partner, who you heard a couple weeks ago. We have all hands on deck for this awesome sort of Nova update, recap, and Wild Card Rumble preface show. So Richie, go ahead and say hi to the people. Richie Vegas, everyone.
Tonight's show is so big we had to bring in the third man. That's how big tonight's show is.
This is a triple threat of hosts, if you will. JP, go ahead and tell the people you're here too.
I mean, I do it myself, but my man Richie Vegas gave me quite the introduction there, man. I don't know what to send him a back or pat him on the back.
Well, this is going to be an awesome episode. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. Do we have a new champion? The belt was on the line. Do we have a new AWF champion? Do we have a new women's champion? Do we have a new state champion? Everything was on the line, but the tag team championships last night at AWF Nova. We're going to get all into it, and we have a few announcements as far as who will be entering into the 2021 AWF Wildcard Rumble. So, wow, where do we start? Richie. Yes. What do you think of Nova last night? Give us your take, just sort of high level on everything you see before we dive deep into it.
As its name says, it lives up to the hype. It was Nova. It was hot. It was huge. It was an explosion of talent. Last night was phenomenal. Shows pretty much where the fate of the roster is heading. I mean, it showcased the strength of new talent and newcomers. It showed what we have to look forward to going forward into the Rumble and into the rest of the year and into even the further future of the company. It was a great show, great outing by a bunch of debuting talent. I loved to see it.
Most definitely. And then, so what we're going to do here tonight, just to give you guys the FYI or the heads up on what we'll be doing, is we're going to go ahead. We're going to give you all the results, everything that happened. Richie and I are going to give you our takes, and we have AWF expert analyst. I guess you provide analysts, which therefore makes you. No, you provide analysis, which therefore makes you an analyst, right, JP? I'll get it at some point.
That's the safest assumption to make.
Yep. So we're going to hear some expert analysis on the competitors, and we're going to go over to everything pretty deeply. So Nova, I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know. You want to know what the fun fact about Nova is, guys?
What's that?
It is that what the hell is happening here, guys?
it's so the excitement level's high, sky high, brother. We gotta keep
okay waiting. Well, this is we're going downhill fast, guys. This is not nearly the we need to fire the guy behind the board right now tonight, I think, is what we're hearing. This is when in doubt, fire the guy behind the board, right, in the AWF. So this is an announcement. An announcement. All right.
What are we announcing?
We are announcing. I'll take it. It's a much larger announcement than the sound effect lets on. It is the 8th sellout in a row for the AWF.
That is insane.
Yes, do not let the bells fully. How are we a wrestling company and we don't have adequate bell sound effects?
The state of the art bell that we have is fixed to the arena, and we can't take it out with us, so we have to make do with what we have.
That is absolutely correct, Richie. You are right. And at the same token, all of the travel bells are locked up safely in storage because of COVID.
Exactly.
So, but nonetheless, that does not take away from the fact that we ever hit our eighth 8th sellout. So all of you right now, you know what I'm going to say. It sold out. If you were there, you were there. If you weren't, you know why. JP, why weren't they there if they weren't there? You've listened to the show enough. You've been on it.
Well, weren't they there because they're Los Angeles Dodgers fans and they're sulking in their soup that they've lost how many series now, Richie? 8, 9, 10?
Five in a row.
So they're Dodgers fans. They don't appreciate quality when they see it.
Most likely the case. And the other reason is because you didn't go to ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com in time to get your tickets. And I know because I heard from the social media guys that you were sending DMs. I heard from the internet guys that you were sending emails. And I saw the people who walked up to the door. Tickets are not on sale when they're sold out. They're not on sale in person. You got to go to ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com to buy your wild card rumble tickets. See, this is where we need another sound effect. It's as I'm saying this, we need like a nice jazzy tune behind us to give people the moment to go buy their wild card rumble tickets. So
they got it. This is your moment now, folks. We might not have a fancy sound effect this week, but I'm going to lobby for us to get one for next week. If there are even any tickets left to buy next week, that's how a hot commodity these tickets are, folks. We aren't kidding around when we say Wild Card Rumble is going to sell out. You think Nova sold out? You think Triumph sold out? Just wait till you hear what we have to talk about with the Wild Card Rumble.
Exactly. And on that note, so what we are looking at, the Wild Card Rumble will be featuring, of course, the over the top rope battle royal style match that we've all come to know and love. This will be the 2021. So I believe getting the number wrong. So I want to say 5th, if not 6th. I'll have to take a look at that. Wild Card Rumble ever in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Some notable winners. That's not the jazz music that we want. That's not exciting enough. So, but still go on, buy your tickets because we'll be seeing typically the Wild Card Rumble has been for the number 1 contender spot to challenge the current AWF champion at the time, and it entitles one lucky. Well, it's not lucky if they earn their way in, right? So one lucky competitor or one earned competitor to get that championship match. But more on what is going to be some announcements with the Wild Card Rumble a little bit later in the show. We're going to get right into, as JP, as you coined the phrase that I'm loving to use now, we're going to get into some bean spillage. You guys ready for this?
Oh,
the beans are going to be spilled.
Getting them all spilled. So get your pots and pans ready, get the fire lit because we're spilling some beans. You're going to want to get in on this bean spilling action. So last night we saw 9, not 8, 9 great matches from AWF stars. The very first one, Joey Hendricks was able to get a victory in singles competition over Akira Gonzalez X. I was very, very impressed with what I saw from both competitors. What did you see in this, Richie?
Like I said, the future is bright for the AWF with both these guys. I mean, we've seen a lot of Hendricks recently when he was in his tag team with the Emperor Bryce Saturn. But now to see him go out on his own and show that he is truly a singles competitor and he has everything it takes to be a successful singles competitor in the AWF, the future is bright. But the future is also bright for Akira Gonzalez X. I mean, he comes out there and he shows everybody that his bloodline can't be forgotten. He is out there and he is going to tear it up. I can see a very bright future for him as well.
An amazingly athletic competitor, and Joey Hendricks is Joey Hendricks. There's not a lot that needs to be said. He's definitely on the rise. JP, you're no stranger, and I actually before I throw to you, JP, conspicuous by his absence. I think you might have called this one, Richie. I think you might have called Bryce Saturn nowhere to be seen.
Exactly. So, I knew it would happen. I knew it would happen.
I think you were right. So there might be some trouble in paradise there. But JP, you're no stranger to Joey Hendricks. What are your thoughts on the winner of this match, Joey Hendricks? What's sort of your insight there? You're sort of a Joey Hendricks guy, haven't you been?
Yeah, I've been a Joey Hendricks guy from day one. I mean, the bottom line is there's some people that have it, and there's some people that have it. Joey Hendricks has it tenfold. No disrespect to the 10th, but Joey is he is the future of this business. And every time he gets into that ring, he looks better and better. He gets more and more polished. He's a student of the game. I mean, what's not to like about Joey Hendricks? That's $1 million question here.
A future star for sure, and a couple more future stars. Next matchup, we had Capane versus Donnie Palmer, and this one was short, sweet, simple, to the point, and just a fight. What'd you see in this one, Richie?
A brawl, a very angry hitman, that's for sure. I know I said on the show a couple weeks ago that somebody might come after him, but after that, I think Capane is safely in the driver's seat as an intimidating force in AWF right now. And going into the wild card rumble, I would be scared if I pulled any number close to Capane if he ends up being in that match.
Yeah, definitely. And Capane is a force to be reckoned with. One of the, if not the biggest. We got to get him and I don't want to orchestrate it. JP, maybe you can take care of that. We got to get him and R3 side by side to see who truly the biggest man in the locker room is. And not to be slept on, Hunter Freeman might be in that mix too. But Donnie Palmer, JP, what would be your word of the wise or your word of advice to this youngster coming out of this match? Not getting the victory, but still looked good. What would be your advice to young Donnie Palmer, formerly Drake and Wolf?
Well, old JP and Drake and Wolf have quite, we have a little bit of history ourselves here. And Drake and actually, once upon a time, came to my aid when certain individuals decided to put me on my keister. I told Drake from the start, don't let the side distractions get in the way. Sometimes you're going to get knocked on your rear end. And listen, when you face a guy as big as Capane, you're going to get knocked on your butt more often than not. But keep getting up, keep pushing forward, because that's what's going to make your future is how many times you get up from being knocked down. And I know Donnie well enough. He comes from the same background that I do. He'll continue to get back up, and we'll keep pushing forward as a result of this. This will just be another experience for him.
I'm gonna say you're both PA boys, aren't you? You're both Pennsylvania boys, right?
Yep, and that's where I actually have a little bit of an affinity for Donnie. I mean, we both are, there's a little thing about us Pennsylvania boys. It's, we lose some, we win some, but, at the end of the day, we never break, we never quit. And Donnie's cut from that mold. Donnie's a guy that, you can knock him down 100 times, he'll get up 101. It's just a matter of, where he takes the directions from here when he gets knocked down. And I think he's going to keep pushing forward. Like I said, Capane's not the first. He's not going to be the first to be knocked down by Capane. He won't be the last.
That's for sure. Hey, forgive me for Richie and I are a couple of West Coasters, lifers out here, born and raised. Hey, do you guys? I know Donnie. I was going to ask you. I know you don't chew tobacco. I'm not. I think Palmer might. I'm not sure. But hey, when you guys do that spit with the bell thing, is that a real thing or is that just for the movies?
No, I can say I've never chewed tobacco. I'm more of a bubblegum chewer myself. But no, yeah, that is very real. I mean, some of the people from the northernmost part of the state, like Donnie is, they'll spit in the bell and make that ringing sound. It's a very real thing. It's a very real thing. It's just a matter of what angle you spit in, and never mind.
Gotcha.
It takes skill. That's something I can tell just by looking at it. I might be completely oblivious to it, but that looks like it's a skill shot right there.
I would imagine, Richie, you and I are gonna have to get some. I don't know if I want to do the chew either, but we'll find some bubble yum or something that JP has laying around, and we'll sort of take lessons from Donnie. But Donnie did want me to let everyone know a little public service announcement. Do not save a horse and ride a Palmer. So next match we had.
Oh gosh.
Moving on, we have Chris Evans and Austin Cole. It looks like who have become very chummy, taking on the very popular, very quickly Chubby Depp and his buddy Ricky Reyes. So what'd you see in this match, Richie?
I love me some Chubby Depp, man. That guy's got heart more than I've seen on this roster in a minute. That man has heart. He's out there to entertain the crowd. He's out there to put on a show, and he's out there to have fun. And you can tell, especially he's got a brotherhood with Ricky Reyes. You could tell they've come up together. You could tell that they want to achieve the same level of success together. And overall, it was very fantastic to see these two brothers go at it, even though the result was unfortunate. You got to look at the bigger picture here. I mean, it's a mentor-mentee situation, and they were just outclassed.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that I would be interested in hearing your opinion on, JP, Austin Cole, very solid, great stature, is going to be one heck of a competitor here in the AWF. JP, what are your thoughts? Because obviously he's a veteran. He's the first AWF champion ever. Chris Evans is who I'm speaking of. What is this a wise decision by Austin Cole to get involved? I'm everyone needs a mentor, right? Breaking into the business. Is this wise of Austin Cole to sort of, feel at ease or comfortable under Chris Evans' wing when Chris Evans is such a firecracker? Or is there a warning to be heated here? What would you say to Austin Cole in that regard? Like,
yeah, there is a lesson to be heeded here. And Austin, learning under the Chris Evans learning tree, not the worst to learn under. I mean, Chris has done everything and been everywhere in this business, and you could pick his brain a little bit, but always keep one eye in the back of your head. Sleep with one eye open, because Chris, like you said, Gabe, is a firecracker. Chris is bound to turn on the drop of a dime, and we don't know what to expect from him. So don't get too comfortable, but get comfortable enough to where you can learn the ropes.
Agreed, and we'll have to see what comes of that. But the next match that I wanted to go ahead and run by you guys, I think we were all excited for this one, as was the AWF fan nation. And Richie, I think you had even expressed a heavy interest in this one off air. New York Street Fight, Pete the Heat Petroselli, Lawrence Tyler. It went down last night, and it went down in a big way. What did you see in this match, Richie?
I keep a close tabs on the talent social media, right? Everybody has something to say on the Facebook machine, on the Twitter machine. Everybody has something to say, and Pete the Heat is no slouch to that. And I know Petey was saying going into this, he was 261-0 in street fights. Well, now looks like,
is that an accurate stat?
I believed it up until this weekend, and now it is not an accurate stat, because LT is the 1 in 264-1.
Yeah, we might have to get some AWF statistics on that. I'm not quite sure if that is, but
that might not be his AWF record by any means in street fights, but that's his New York street fight record, and now we have the 1 in 264-1 being LT.
It must not count as Arizona street fights. He's in out here in that 260, because I witnessed with my own two eyes outside the NBC Sports radio station him get choked out by Efren Escudero in a street fight. True story.
I was going to say you were going to be the statistician I was going to touch into, JP. So you're very familiar with both Lawrence Tyler and Pete the Heat's street fight history, because you and Petey go back a little bit. These guys in a street fight, like what is there to say? What I'm sure you have something. You're the man never short on words, but Petey and LT, man.
Listen, LT's a grizzled veteran who's been in a couple of Bronx brawls himself. Pete, though, I mean, don't let the braggadociousness or the stature define you. And he, his 260 may be a little bit just a hair embellished. But the thing about Pete is, when he's in that kind of scenario, normally he will stop at nothing to get a win. But that's what makes Lawrence such a grizzled vet, man. I mean, he's another one. You can never knock the old lion off his perch. You can never take the lion away from the jungle. And LT's, he's had a mixed bag of success in street fights, even in the AWF. But bottom line is, he knows when to reach down and grab deep. And last night, I mean, he wasn't losing to Pete. I'll put it that way. I've talked to LT off the social media machine, and he said he's never been more determined to shut someone up in his life than he was last night. And he did.
I can believe it. I can 100% believe it.
And he most certainly did it. He made a believer. If you weren't a believer, well, he went out with one statement to make, and that was to shut Petey up. And Mr. Petroselli, consider yourself shut up at the hands of Lawrence Tyler. So I've actually been involved. Did you guys know that I've actually been involved with the skirmish or two with good old Petey backstage? He's a fighter. Yeah, not me directly, but I've been, wrong place, wrong time. Water. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys the coffee, getting the coffee story, and the sort of like, you guys remember the Tasmanian Devil?
Yeah.
And how debris would just sort of get sucked up any time. That's sort of like Petey in a street fight. I'm going to tell these guys, we're going to go to break real quick, because I don't think I can say it on air, but we'll be right back to talk about the rest of the AWF Nova card and some Wildcard Rumble updates right after the break.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Gold Talk Radio.
Two great shows have been announced for the Arizona Wrestling Federation in May. May 8th, AWF Nova, and May 29th, the Wild Card Rumble is back. Both in Phoenix, Arizona. Get your tickets at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com.
Hey guys, it's Big HD, the Hardcore Degenerate, inviting you to check out Kings of the Round Table every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on RGTR Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy R-Dog here with your homeboy MJ Gunner.
What's going on, everybody?
And we want you to join us every Tuesday live for the Sons of Legends podcast at 10 p.m., where we talk about wrestling, sports, entertainment, and everything else. It's a show for the fans, by the fans.
That's right, Art. You know how it gets whenever we get in to talk about our wrestling. It gets completely insane.
And every Tuesday, we'll be all the way live, 10 p.m. Join us for the Sons of Legends podcast on RGTR.
Hey, folks. I'm Bradley C. Baker.
And I'm Jim Caterly.
And we're from Broken Link Radio. We'd like to ask you to take a second of your day to join our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com. You see, due to Jim's excessive shoe habit
and Burhead's compulsive habit of buying used books,
we need a little help keeping up with our operational fees. With packages starting as low as $3.99 a month, you can become the ultimate scumbag and help keep food on our tables during these trying times.
Dude, what's this? We're not starving.
I know, Jim, but listen, we're all in this together.
Yeah, it's like you're making us into a Sarah McLachlan commercial or something.
I know. I'm just reading what was written, Jim.
Why don't we just tell them if they like what they hear to support the show?
Yeah, well, I think we're out of time now, and the studio only paid for one take, so whatever. Catch new episodes every Monday and help support the show on our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com, patreon.com/brokenlinkradio.
Do it! I still hate that URL.
Broken Link Radio. You're listening to RGTR, Red Gold Talk Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on at Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly with myself, Gabriel Anders. I'm here with Richie Vegas and the expert AWF analysis and host of Kings of the Round Table, JP. JP, while we're coming back, if you want to tell the people, you do a thing on Thursday night here on RGTR, don't you?
Yeah, I do this little thing. It's myself, Jordan Cruz, and HD. We come on here every Thursday night, do some sports talk, mix in a little bit of pro wrestling. We throw some guests in there. We've actually had future NFL Hall of Famer Rick Webb on, had some analysts from all over the country in the world of sports. So we give our slant on the world of sports. We talk a lot of gibberish. We talk a lot of smack. We talk a lot of nonsense, but we hope we entertain you every Thursday night. Kings of the Round Table, the best in sports, the worst in sports, and all things in between with myself, Jordan Cruz, and HD, right here on RGTR.
Yep, and it is one of the most excellent shows if you are into the sports world. So best one that RGTR has to offer here, hidden on every base, hosted by JP, HD, and Jordan. So next we are going to, as we promised, get into the second half, more or less the second half, kind of sort of the second half. So second half of what we're talking about. Next match here on AWF Nova, of course, we left off with that brutal street fight. Next one we're taking a look at, Michael Hopkins making his debut, taking a victory against former AWF champion, former AWF state champion, and former just dominant force in the, I guess not former dominant force, he's still a dominant force in the AWF. Got his very first debut victory against Watson. Richie, what did you see in this match when you watched it, when you were watching it last night?
It goes back to that sentiment I said earlier about the future is going to be bright in the AWF, and this is just another example of somebody coming into the roster and making it their home. I mean, Hopkins is going to be another force to be reckoned with. I think he's going to climb up the power rankings real quick, especially taking Watson down. Of all people, that was one wild card win that I would not have expected.
That's a big statement. That's a big statement to come in and beat a guy like Watson with his reputation, with his just, proven track record. JP, how big of a statement would you say, do you agree with that? How big of a statement is that to come in and beat a former AWF champion on your debut?
Well, being you solidified the fact there, it's his debut match. I mean, you're going in your debut against an accomplished grappler with a ton of success in the AWF like Watson. I mean, you're talking Watson, who had victories over Sefifa too, who has gone toe to toe with Austin. Man, he's gone toe to toe with the best of the best and beat more than he's lost to. I mean, for Watson, for Hopkins to come in and defeat him in his debut match in the promotion in front of the sold out capacity crowd at the new AWF arena, that's what you call hitting a grand slam home run in the bottom of the ninth inning of the World Series and making a debut. I mean, you cannot get any better than that. And I think that if he did that good in his debut match against a competitor like Watson, look out when he gets, really gets the ground running, because like Richie said, I mean, one of the many faces that's making the future of this company so bright that everybody needs shade. And I think big things are coming for that young man. I think you're going to be seeing him at the top of the card very soon, and maybe even holding some gold.
And the funny thing about this match too is, I don't know if some people might have missed it because it was right before intermission, but Richie, did you catch what happened afterwards?
What exactly are you referencing?
So Watson, just to set the picture for you guys, Watson sort of hung around a little bit as Hopkins was celebrating his victory with the fan nation, rightfully so, as he should. Debut match comes in, really makes a name for himself. Watson seemed a little peeved by that making of that statement. Maybe like there might be there's certainly bad blood, I would imagine, brewing, at least in Watson's head. So acted as if he was going for a handshake to congratulate him, and ended up kicking him right in the, let's say, stomach to give Watson the benefit of the doubt. But Watson attacked Hopkins after the match, sort of I don't want to call Watson a sore loser, but he's sort of prone to this. We've seen in the past.
Well, I did want to say before we finish discussing this, because we can't get just so hung up on the result. We have to talk about the match itself. There's the fact that Watson recently has exhibited a serious mean streak. And that is a part of it. I would want to say is, I think since he failed to capture the AWF title after being given 2 chances in a row with both the Gold Rush tournament and then being the number 1 contender shortly after and losing, I think that awoke a very prominent meme streak from within Watson, and now we're starting to see it carry out more and more. And that was a statement to say that despite the results he's been getting, that's one mean man, that's one mean dude, and he's, especially just the match itself, bar from its quality, which was of the top caliber, there was a bit more vicious striking and vicious attacks from Watson than we've seen from him in his time in the AWF.
Yeah, and it's been escalating. And just to give you all an idea, so Watson entered into that Gold Rush tournament, was not able to come out victorious, attacked Parada, attacked awesome Andy Palafox, current champion and former champion, wasn't able to gain that championship from Parada. And what I think not a lot of people sort of, it might have flown under the radar, but the last time we saw Watson, he fought LJ Ramos. So not to disparage LJ Ramos in the slightest, who is an excellent competitor here in the AWF, but he's certainly not somebody who's sort of revolved and gravitated around that heavyweight or that AWF sort of, championship scene. So when Watson came in and he requested that match specifically, was he, JP, is that the way that, and then obviously handling him soundly, was that sort of a way that as Watson is sort of, was he trying to make a statement, or was it frustration, would you say? And does this sort of carry on that same vein as to what we're seeing from Watson, JP? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it is a combination of the both. And I think that Watson's starting to realize, look, he's never really been the guy that shook your hand backstage and patted you on the back. He's always sort of had that mean streak that Richie mentioned to him. But I think,
the edge has always been there, you're saying.
The edge has always been there. Now he's just showing it. Exactly. Now he's showing it more in the forefront because, look, he knows he's been to the top of the mountain before, had a great run as champ. Things have sort of fallen in the back burner for him. I mean, since he lost the belt in the AWF. Now it's trying to get that edge. And it's like, the Watson you've seen that suffered some setbacks and that fell short in these title matches, fell short to Hopkins. I mean, don't get used to seeing that, because believe me, the tides are turning, and I'm going to be the Watson that was a champ again, come hook or come crook. And I think that's what this is. It's just him showing that this mean streak is really who he is. And if this is the steps he has to take to get back to the top of the mountain, then everybody better keep an eye open, because he's a dangerous person anyway. And with this mean streak, it's going to be even tougher to get that W on him.
Yeah, and again, you're talking about a guy who, that very well could be what we're seeing. So, he's beat, like you mentioned, Richie, he's beat Cepha, he's beat Hammerstone, he's beat Andy in his own right. He's, he really has been around the horn and accomplished everything that he's accomplished at so young. I mean, the guy's you're looking at this, the guy's in his mid-20s. If it's one of those things that you don't see this level of success at so young very frequently. Could that be, do you guys think, could that be playing a role here to where he had that success? Maybe he feels that he's not getting that spotlight that he rightfully deserves, or that he's just coming up short. Could that be playing a factor that, not to say he's peaked by any means, because he's obviously got his whole career, but mentally right now, do you think that's affecting him?
You have to think from a competitor's point of view. Even though you have the long term of your career, the short term is what matters. And in the moment victories, the in the moment successes, and the in the moment pay. When you're holding gold, you get paid more. When you're holding gold, you get more recognition. And Watson held gold for quite some time. He went from one title to another. So there is very little room where he hasn't held gold. And I think this is starting to slight him a bit, having not held gold for some time. And then just speaking from another man's point of view, you can tell the frustrations are setting in, and you can tell that he wants to be recognized no matter what he has to do to get that recognition. And if that's tearing apart the blue chip prospects that walk through the door, then he's going to do what he has to do.
Yeah, what do you think, JP?
You know what? I'm going to back up what both of you said, and let's be honest, gentlemen. The wrestling business, if anything else, is a what have you done for me lately world. I mean, all that he's accomplished in the past, people forget quick. We live in an ADD society where if it didn't happen within the last couple of days, it didn't happen. And this is, I know Watson's background, and I'm not fond of the city that one of the cities he once upon a time called home. I know that there's that mentality from people that live there that, look, I'm always looking to stay one step ahead. And I'm not going to be one of these people that gets lost in the shuffle in this mad world that is professional wrestling. I'm not just a what have you done for me lately person. If you don't believe me now, I'm going to make you believe me. And if it's like Richie said, and like you said, making examples of people like LJ Ramos, then, not to use a cliche phrase, but he's just another person in the way. And I think it's just staying and proving that he's, what you saw from him before is coming back, and sooner than we realize.
Yeah, you know what? You make a great point. Watson's from, even though, he has fun with it in his entrance, as the mental games that we see fighters have, the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's from Philadelphia. He's a Philly boy. So he's from Philly. You're absolutely right. Who are the most fickle, what have you done for me lately type of fans, right? Like, hey, JP, you know a guy from Philly, don't you?
Yeah, he's a bit of a schmuck. I mean, and he's got that same mentality. That's why I know, how Watson ticks. Yeah, I know that person. I think we're sort of somehow related. It's somehow down the family tree.
I think shout out to you, HD. Was it booed Santa Claus or threw snowballs at him? It wasn't rocks because you said it wrong. But shout out to you, HD. It was they threw snowballs at Santa, right?
They threw snowballs at Santa. They threw batteries at JD Drew, who was one of their own players, by the way. They booed Donovan McNabb. I mean,
countless times, anytime after incomplete passes. So yeah, that makes sense. That's actually a very good point that you brought up. Just sort of an insight, a speculative insight to what could be going on in Watson's head. But nonetheless, Hopkins took the victory in a very impressive debut. Next up, after the intermission, we had Paradox challenging Ray Black. Not the boring cowboy guy, as well as some people here like to refer to him. Ray, it wasn't me. It might be these other guys. I'm not pointing fingers. So you guys can't hear me through your headphones, can you?
I'm holding my tongue on that one this week.
All righty.
I hear you loud and clear. 10-4.
But so Ray Black and Paradox, what an outstanding match we saw here. So it was another brutal one, another fight. We saw, Ray Black, who's obviously going to do whatever it takes to get his championship, and Paradox is hungry. Paradox is a hungry competitor. What did you see out of him, Richie?
I saw a man who wants that title and who really, really was chasing it. And again, I know I've said it before, and I can't be a hypocrite. I have to stand by what I say. Do what you got to do to get the job done. Now, granted, it wasn't a W, but he did get to walk away with his gold. So when you're feeling desperate, you got to walk away with what you got to walk away with. And the fact that Paradox was able to get him feeling that desperate, that just means that he knew Paradox would have had him. And I think that's the lingering feel that was in Ray Black's in the back of his mind. So he came in prepared to do what he had to do. He did what he did, and he walked away with the gold. That's all that matters.
I think so. And JP, you and I were having a conversation a while back off air. This Paradox kid is impressing you, isn't he?
I've been impressed with Paradox since the very first moment I laid my eyes on him, and he was still just getting his feet wet in his business. I'm not. Joe Namath was not a player I was fond of for obvious reasons, but I'm going to make my Joe Namath on here.
JP's a Dolphins fan, by the way, for those not keeping score at home.
Right. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so I got to throw that out there. But I'm going to make my Joe Namath call, and I promise you, folks, I'm within my wits. Paradox will win a world title in the AWF. Paradox will be the heavyweight champion in this company, and more than once. I mean, he's got the it factor. He's got the skills in the ring. I mean, he can go in any style. He can fly. He can grapple. But the biggest thing he's gotten, Gabe, Richie, I think you all can agree with me, that mindset to be a champion. I mean, he may not have come up. He may have come up a little bit short by no fault of his own this time, which obviously we saw the DQ. I mean, that's by hook or by crook again. But he refuses to take these setbacks and let it defy him. He continues to grow from them. And I think the future is extremely high for him. I think that there's no ceiling for what this guy can't reach.
I absolutely back up that sentiment. I think Paradox could very well be a future champion. I think he has everything it takes. I think he has the heart, the soul, and he's shown that he has what it takes to be a main eventer in this company too. I mean, with that street fight that he had a couple months ago, there's no doubt in my mind that he belongs at the top of the card.
Wow, bold words from both Richie Vegas and JP. Tell us what you think at Pro Wrestling AZ on Twitter. If you guys feel that same sentiment about Paradox, and just drop us a line, or about anything you've heard on the show so far. The one thing I just wanted to say about Ray, that man does whatever it takes to win. So like you said, even though he walks out technically with the L on this one, at the end of the day, he's still the state champion. So that right there, when your priorities in order, that shows me that he knows exactly what he's doing, knows exactly what he wants, and he is not letting that gold slip out of his hands by any means, no matter what happens. So we're going to go ahead and touch on, we're going to hold off until the next segment because I am signaled. Am I reading that signal right? Yeah, we're right up on a break. So we're going to go ahead. When we come back, we're going to talk some AWF women's division wrestling. The championship was on the line, and a couple other great matches in this great triple main event card that we had. So you guys cool if we talk about women's championship, Hammerstone, Freeman, and the AWF championship when we come back? You guys good with that, Richie and JP?
Absolutely.
All righty.
Talk about Hammerstone.
Well, we'll sort things out for you, JP. And JP, again, you don't have anything around. Hey, you know what? Let me slide this over real quick. So you're not picking that up today, okay? Not picking that up, my friend. So we're gonna be right back. JP is not gonna stand up. JP, you've been instructed to sit down, and we will be right back, at least during the Hammerstone conversation. And Wildcard Rumble news at Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly with myself, Gabriel Anders, Richie Vegas, and JP. We'll be right back on RGTR Red Gold Talk Radio.
You're listening to RGTR Red Gold Talk Radio.
Two great shows have been announced for the Arizona Wrestling Federation in May. May 8th, AWF Nova, and May 29th, the Wild Card Rumble is back. Both in Phoenix, Arizona. Get your tickets at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com.
Hey guys, it's Big HD, the Hardcore Degenerate, inviting you to check out Kings of the Round Table every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on RGTR Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Art Dog here with your homeboy MJ Gunner.
What's going on, everybody?
And we want you to join us every Tuesday live for the Sons of Legends podcast at 10 p.m., where we talk about wrestling, sports, entertainment, and everything else. It's a show for the fans, by the fans.
That's right, Art. You know how it gets whenever we get here to talk about our wrestling. It gets completely insane.
And every Tuesday, we'll be all the way live, 10 p.m. Join us for the Sons of Legends podcast on RGTR.
Hey folks, I'm Bradley C. Baker.
And I'm Jim Caterly.
And we're from Broken Link Radio. We'd like to ask you to take a second of your day to join our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com. You see, due to Jim's excessive shoe habit
and Burhead's compulsive habit of buying used books,
we need a little help keeping up with our operational fees. With packages starting as low as $3.99 a month, you can become the ultimate scumbag and help keep food on our tables during these trying times.
Dude, what's this? We're not starving.
I know, Jim, but listen, we're all in this together.
No, it's like you're making us into a Sarah McLachlan commercial or something.
I know. I'm just reading what was written, Jim.
Why don't we just tell them if they like what they hear to support the show?
Yeah, well, I think we're out of time now, and the studio only paid for one take, so whatever. Catch new episodes every Monday and help support the show on our Patreon at brokenlinkradio1word.com, patreon.com/brokenlinkradio.
Do it! I still hate that URL.
Broken Link Radio. You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on at Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly. We are covering Nova, giving you a little recap. We're just sort of popping in, popping out this week. So, Richie Vegas, JP, myself, Gabriel Anders here on RGTR Red Gold Talk Radio. So we've covered about darn near all the card, guys, right?
Yeah.
Just about. Just
got
women's
the main
title.
events.
Yeah, women's title and the triple main events that we saw. So without further ado, let's go and get right into it. By the way, we had another debut. So usually, my apologies to everybody. We're going to do it a little out of order. So another sold out. We hit on that. So another capacity crowd. The venue was New AWF Arena for AWF Nova, taking place on Saturday, May the 8th. The bell time, first bell hit, I want to say about 7:10, 7:11, somewhere in there, depending on whose watch you're looking at. JP, if it's looking at yours, I think it might have said like 42:29 or something. You have a weird watch.
You just said 7-Eleven. I was thinking a gas station, but anyway, never mind.
Man, I can go for a Slurpee now.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds good. So, hey, if you're listening at 7-Eleven.
On the house after the show, Richie.
There you go. So we have our Slurpee set up that we'll be kicking it over to. The referee of record was AB, of course. So master of ceremonies and a new debuting. Well, actually, this would be the master of ceremonies. New debuting announcer we had last night. I didn't catch his official name. However, the Fan Nation, after LT mentioned it, took to calling him Jim Ross Jr. So what did you feel about the new guy, Jim Ross Jr. there, Richie?
I missed Miranda as always, but he was a nice enough guy.
There you go. So yeah, that was, I think that handles about all of the event factoids that we missed on. So
hold up a second. I don't mean to interrupt you. I know this is your show and I apologize. They give him Jim Ross Jr. and I get the "We Want Miranda" chant. Why do I don't get the cool? Why don't the AWF Nation never gave me cool compliments like that?
JP, you're standing again.
Oh, sorry, better
sit standing
down.
Again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a blood pressure thing. It's blood pressure thing. You know, with the standing, the heart racing and your red face. You see Richie, you see how red face he gets, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm coming off a
pretty
severe
concerning.
concussion. I am in the middle of a severe concussion, so I mean,
Yeah,
I
see,
probably need
that's
to.
you gotta take it easy there. I texted you guys. I said take it easy next couple of days. So the next thing we're gonna do in just a bit is talk about Hammerstone. So
Oh, now we're really gonna
What
need
are
to
you
get the
doing to
blood
me?
pressure machine in here.
Yeah, I need to Slurpee now, man. I don't talk about that.
I think your doctor told me to go ahead and roll out the stress test. So that was another text I got. That's why I invited you on the show here tonight. But yeah, no, I too have been a victim of the We Want Miranda chants, and strangely conspicuous by their absence last night. So they must have had an affinity. Maybe it was the cowboy hat, maybe it was the all black Johnny Cash suit. Bad guys wear black. I don't know, but in the infamous words of somebody who won't be named here because he doesn't work for our company, but he was over, brother. So there you go. The women's championship was on the line, and we all know that Maya Martinez was who was selected as the first challenger coming out of that 4-way to take on Brittany Brooks. So some have been saying that they're not quite sure if how ready Brittany Brooks was for competition, or whether or not she'd be able to successfully defend her women's championship. She was able to score the victory by pinfall. Richie, what did you see in this match?
I saw a bad blood feud get reopened, this time with more at stake. I mean, we've seen them go at it many times. We've seen how deep that feud runs, and I mean, Brittany Brooks is looking to hold that title for as long as she can. So I think we saw a proud champion defend her title, and a hungry challenger show that she's not done chasing that title yet either.
Yeah, and JP, you had some words for Brittany Brooks, the just sort of a warning to be heeded, as she's getting into the mean competition that is the AWF women's division. So she was able to successfully defend here in an impressive fashion, I might add, in a very competitive fashion. And she listened to the show, and it sounds like, did she heed your warning pretty well, in your opinion? What do you think here about Brittany Brooks being able to successfully defend in her first title defense?
Oh, I will just merely say, right now she's not quite the Murderers Row Yankees, but she certainly is. She's not the flash in the pan either. I mean, she certainly took the big steps forward into sleeping with one eye in the back of her head, realizing she's now the hunted, not the hunter, and it's a different ballgame. I was impressed, man. I was impressed with Brittany, and I've known Brittany since she was a little girl, and she's hungry, man. She's hungry. She's not going to let this fame get to her head, and she doesn't want to just be the flash in the pan. She wants to be the continuous champ that people are talking about for decades to come. And look, I mean, Maya, one person on the roster that could probably match her youthful exuberance and the same hunger, and she pulled out all the stops last night in a clean, ethical way, by the way, to get the W.
Yeah, and Maya, just to add on touch, not a happy camper backstage, not a happy camper one bit. I think she knows, and I'm sure by now she's had the chance to watch the tape. There were definitely a couple points that she had the match in the bag, and I think that you just got to chalk it up. It's tough to tell a rookie, chalk it up to rookie mistakes, but she was not in a good mood when I wanted to get a word with her. She wasn't having it. So, but both women very hungry, and I think this won't be the last we hear of Maya Martinez, and certainly won't be the last that we hear of Brittany Brooks either. So now one of the second of the three main events. So we had the street fight, and then the AWF championship coming up last. But before we get to that one, Hunter Freeman making his return on his way back from San Diego. Very, very glad to see him back. And he was taking on hey Richie, I'm gonna look over at you because I don't want anything thrown over into my face right now.
He's standing.
JP, we've talked about this with your boy Hammerstone. Richie, what'd you I'm gonna get JP to sit down here. You tell us what takeaways you had from this match.
Well, I mean, Hammer is Hammer. He's going to come out there. He's going to win matches, and JP's getting a little too close. So I'm going to go over here real quick. I think Hammer is showing.
Sorry, Richie. Blink, JP. JP, blink. He's not your enemy.
Enter the Rumble.
I'm trying to breathe in through the nose, not through the mouth. Go ahead, Richie.
I'm sure going into the Rumble, Hammer wanted to show that he isn't an afterthought. And obviously he's not. The fans love him. He's one of the top guys. I think he wanted to get a statement victory in the show before the Wild Card Rumble, and that's what he did.
Yeah, and I think so. And I think one big takeaway that I had was just how far Hunter Freeman has come since he debuted in the AWF, just a few short years ago. So one of his debut matches was against former Unleashed champion Rocket Boy Wilson out in Tempe in the out on one of the events out there. And I've been impressed from day one. JP, have you got your breathing under control?
I'm slowly starting to feel the blood rush come out of my face, and
Okay.
this anger went from being
okay. So I'm
more like a dumpster fire. So go ahead.
I'm not going to have you speak on Hammerstone what I'm going to have you ask is, what are your thoughts on this Hunter Freeman guy? So he's from Jordan's neck of the woods. I'm sure that you guys have bumped into him. What's your take on Hunter Freeman? Have you gotten the chance to watch him and sort of see what he does in ring?
Oh yeah, I've actually had the distinct honor of getting to announce at one of the events that Hunter Freeman wrestled at. And look, I'll talk nice about Hammer this one time and one time only, out of interest of fairness to you and my new friend Richie here, even though it's paining me to say so. I mean, Hunter.
Richie, why are you standing now? Richie, why are you standing?
I'm just moving over here.
Okay.
That's all.
He's moving out the way in case I had to suddenly start grabbing and throwing things. So, Hunter is the one person I've seen that actually looked like he physically matched Hammer in the stature department. It's not often that Hammer is, pound for pound similar to somebody, but Hunter's that big, tall, burly guy, and I mean he moves like a gazelle. I mean, he's another one. He's got that mindset that's, refused to break. He's got that the good quality in-ring action. I mean, he's not a one-trick pony by any means. So, and last night he went up against stiff competition. Not everybody can beat Hammer like Jordan Cruz has done twice now in the AWF. But, he certainly gave it his yeoman's effort. And, beating Hammer's not an easy task. That's why only Jordan Cruz is the only person in AWF history to do it twice. So, I mean, but, like I said,
statistically, that's not.
That is
what, Jay, we're not going to get into that tonight. But one thing I did want to get into, so we're going to jump ahead just a little bit before we jump back to the championship match, because I do have our first wildcard Rumble announcement. So not only we do know, or I should say second, we do know Jordan Cruz will be entering, as he let everyone know on Kings of the Round Table a couple of weeks ago. You were there, JP. So he will be entering in. So the number 2 announced entrant, and this is why I want to jump ahead before we jump back, is Hammerstone. So Hammerstone will be entering the 2021 Wildcard Rumble. I don't know how you beat beat Hammerstone in his element. It sounds like this might be the time, with all of the success he's had worldwide. It sounds like he's wanting to come home and finally get that elusive. The man's never had the AWF championship, many opportunities, but it sounds like he wants to enter himself in the Rumble, do it the right way, prove to everybody that he is the ultimate wrestler here in the state of Arizona. Richie, how do you beat this guy?
It's simple. You don't. Oh wait, JP. I that wasn't pointed at you.
JP.
It's okay, but it's simple. You don't beat him.
Here, wear your hat.
It's not easy to get that man in a normal match down to the mat. Nonetheless, in a match where you have to outwill him and throw him over the ropes, there is no outwilling Hammer. I think Hammer is, in my opinion, the runaway favorite to win the Rumble.
And I think that with this announcement, and let us know who your pick is so far on at Pro Wrestling AZ on Twitter, this is a huge announcement. And I think that many of the fan nation and the analysts that we have here are going to agree that Hammer has to be the favorite here. He has to obviously be immediately the favorite. Now, JP, you have 30 seconds, because I know that if anybody disagrees, you might be the only one. You might be one of two. How do you beat Hammerstone in this match? Because we know who your favorite is.
Is he there?
I think that we might have. Okay, so JP has gone into an epileptic shock. You know what happened, Richie? I bet you. I think that JP's coming back in the room now. JP, did you get scared with that announcement? And I see you texting over there. Who are you texting? Is it Jordan? Is it Jordan Cruz?
I'm having a discussion not only with Jordan Cruz, but I'm having a discussion with our legal experts, Ball Saxon and Johnson, the official lawyer of Mr. Jordan Cruz and Kings of the Round Table. All this talk about not beating Hammerstone. Richie, you're a smart guy. Gabe, I know you're a smart guy. Jordan's done it twice. Jordan has never lost an AWF match, and he's not going to lose this either. As a matter of fact, you can put Hammer in there second. The only title Hammer's going to win if he's in there second with Jordan in that Rumble is the fastest elimination in the history of AWF. I mean, he's going to be thrown out faster than Tommy Lasorda gets to get thrown out of baseball games. I mean, he's going to get thrown out faster than somebody on a blind date with a Kardashian sister. All this talk, Hammerstone. Hey, it'd be easy to beat Hammerstone. Jordan perfected the art of it. Just like he's going to perfect the art of winning this battle, this rumble you guys got. And, Awesome Andy, whoever's next, whoever's got the belt, just start polishing up now. It don't matter who you put in there. You can put 30 people in there, 40 people in there, 50 people in there. You can put the entire friggin' Arizona Cardinals offensive line in there. It ain't going to make a difference once Jordan gets his hands on them. They're all going flying.
Alrighty, well, we know who JP is picking. So, Richie, we know we got your pick. We're going to definitely, as this goes on, as the more competitors are announced, we are 100% going to stick on, and we want you to tell us who you guys are thinking is winning too. So just tweet us, like I said, at Pro Wrestling AZ. Name of the show is where you can reach us on Twitter. So since we are getting short on time, AWF Championship, best 2 out of 3 falls, Andy Palafox the champion, Evan Daniels, easy for me to say, Evan Daniels the challenger. 1, what a match. 2, Richie, what do you got for me? This was amazing.
I mean, this is a feud that I never want to end, and it's sad that this could be it. I mean, they've gone to war 4 times now. There's in a row, four shows in a row we've gotten to see these men slug it out, and I mean, man, it's something special every time. You don't think they're going to be able to one up what they do, but then they one up it and really show their competitive spirit against each other. And two out of 3 falls matches are always a treat, and this did not disappoint at all. I think it's unfortunate Evan couldn't get it done. I was really pulling for him. I wanted him to be to be the Grand Slam champion. I think that would have been a really cool story to play out. But again, like we discussed last show, there's no betting against Andy Palafox anymore. You can't look at him and say that man isn't going to win his match, because he's shown time and time again you can't bet against him.
Yeah, Andy Palafox is back, and I think that a lot of people share your same sentiment, and I think there are a lot of people who are very torn, who wanted to see Andy win, but definitely just with the story, the drive. A lot of people have followed him his entire career, wanted Evan Daniels to sort of get that AWF championship in its clutches. And JP, before I throw to you for your analysis on the 2 guys right now, I'm just going to spell out the order of the falls. So Andy Palafox was able to take the first fall. Evan Daniels did get the second fall. And in that third fall, the majority of the time had a very heavy advantage. But at the end of the day, when he went for his Saseda stomp, Andy Palafox was able to catch him into a power bomb. So utilizing the momentum of Evan Daniels coming off the top rope and to score that victory. And that's not just any power bomb. That's that Andy Palafox that we've seen him sort of dead weight people, whether it be just from the ground, off the corner. That's a devastating power bomb. And that's not to be, there's no shame in losing to that power bomb, as Evan Daniels did after the battle they went through. But with these 2 guys, Andy Palafox retains his championship. What are your thoughts on it, JP?
Well, first and foremost, let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this match, along with the other 9 matches that took place at Nova, this one alone, though, is why AWF is the hottest ticket in the state of Arizona. You have a better chance of getting front row tickets at Yankee Stadium than you do of getting these tickets. So if you're listening to this, hurry up and get your tickets now for the next event, because they're going very fast. They might sell out by the end of the show. Listen, I mean, I've seen some pretty good fights in my time. I've seen some pretty good fights lately. Jeff O'Neill and Francisco Lindor in the bottom of the 7th inning, in a baseball game the other day had a good one. But these 2 went out there and showed why two of the best wrestlers in the Southwest, if not in the whole business today. Neither one of them had the will to, they both had the will to win. Neither one of them were willing to accept defeat. And like you said, Evan, so many times was it with a hair of becoming that Grand Slam champion. I mean, I don't think people realize it weren't there how close Evan was to winning this match. I mean, I saw bits and pieces. I saw the video. They were just a second away. But the thing about Andy is, this is, as scary as it says, the best we've ever seen of Andy Palafox. And that says a lot, because this guy has accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the AWF and then some. But he looks better now, gentlemen, than I think I've ever seen him before. And that's going to be a tough out on any night. And I mean, I think Evan gave it a yeoman shot. He fought his heart off, but fought his heart out. But, that's Andy's just right now a step above everybody else, I think.
Yeah, and that is certainly to be said. I'm sorry, Richie, did you have something you wanted to chime in with?
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and that is definitely, I've been saying it since he won, and I think people are starting to believe it. Andy is back. Andy is back with a vengeance, and he is sitting on the top of the mountain. So this is second reign, still ongoing, and we'll see sort of what the future holds. One bit of news I do have. So directly following this match, so to say that this is a final chapter might not be the case. So before we speak too hastily on it, Evan Daniels, after the match, accepting victory in a very respectful way, as Evan Daniels does, who's one of the best guys in the locker room, went directly to the AWF officials as soon as this match was over. And I almost think it was predetermined. He went right to the AWF officials and he said, put me in the 2021 Wildcard Rumble. There is no quit in Evan Daniels. So if you're keeping score at home, Jordan Cruz, the first entrant, Hammerstone, the second entrant, not in the order. These will be a randomized order. But as far as the announced entrants, Evan Daniels is now the third announced entrant for the AWF 2021 Wildcard Rumble. What do you guys think about that?
Insanity. That just shows the drive and determination of this man to capture that title and to be the Grand Slam champion. I think he really is chasing that Triple Crown, and I know he will work to get it. He's worked this hard to get this far, and I mean, can't keep the man out.
JP, what do you think of that tenacity? Loses the championship match, 2 out of 3 falls, one of the hardest fought battles of his life. Once he regains his composure, walks right up to the officials and says, put me in, I'm not done.
The biggest trait you cannot teach in the gym is mind over matter. That's Evan Daniels. What I mean by mind over matter is, look, he suffered, he put his 100% out there in that triple threat with Andy Palafox. Came up just short, but he was not deferred by it. It's not how you respond to victory. It's how you respond to defeat that really defines a man. And the salt wasn't even fresh on the wound of this loss when he's saying, look, this ain't it. I want in, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. That is tenacity. That is heart. That is character that you can't teach in a gym. You can't teach in a locker room. You can't teach on any field of life. And that's why Evan Daniels has been an elite competitor his entire career. And I again, my respect for him skyrocketed hearing that, because, again, he could have gone back. He could have licked his wounds. He could have sulked. He could have moaned. We've seen men of his stature do the same thing, but he was right back on the bike. Look, I'm not done yet. Put me back in. I want another shot. That's heart.
And there are, so I just wanted to throw that one out to you, because that was an amazing show of just, mental fortitude. And I think that really shows the desire, like you were saying, JP, just the desire and the hunger for Evan Daniels. He wants that AWF championship. And I think nothing illustrates that point. I watched him walk over to the AWF officials and demand to be put in this match. So that's remarkable to me. So kudos, even though he didn't come away with the victory and the gold, he's gunning for it. I'm going to throw a few more names out there, because there are a couple other, I know we're getting short on time, but we're able to get that extended just a skosh here. So I'm going to throw some other names at you for other entrants that are coming into this wild card rumble. You guys ready for these?
Absolutely. Throw them out there.
All right. So very first one, following these ones, of course, first announcement that has been released after these three were validated and official or made official. Entrant number 4, R3.
Oh no.
So it sounds like somebody caught wind of Evan Daniels' post-match actions and might have had a little something to say about it himself. What are your guys' thoughts?
That is an imposing thought. I mean, I've said it before, the man is laser focused. I know that the fact that he saw Evan do it and then goes and does it himself, that just shows he's not going to stop chasing it either. And especially with that teamwork we saw from them in the Fatal 4-Way last month, we'll see maybe the teamwork carries over into the Rumble. See if they could be the last 2 men in this match.
Yep. And then next one that has been announced. So remember, a lot of these might be reactionary, might have actually just happened following the events in Nova, because I think a lot of the guys in the back prior to really solidifying their entry, I think they were kind of waiting to see how the night turned out. So a lot of these came in within hours of the event. So R3 obviously came in very quick. Another one that announced it and said, "Put me in," Watson.
Oh, that's another big one.
Yeah, JP, what are your thoughts? So we sort of alluded to it earlier. What do you think about Watson jumping right into?
Hey man, mindset is everything in a match like this, where it's you got to face 29 other people. I mean, he's got that mean streak going for him right now. He's got that kill or be killed mentality. I mean, there's a lot of tough names in here. I mean, you just mentioned several. R3. I mean, that's a big body to get out of there who's determined in his own right. But that mean streak of Watson, man. I mean, look, let's put it this way. 30 men on one fighting 29 other men in a night. That's a typical night in Penn's Landing for Watson. So, I mean, this is right up his alley.
Yep. And next one. We are, just wanted to make sure I'm reading that right. Chris Evans.
Okay. That's another
experience.
Yep, definitely looking to maybe climb back on top of the mountain. We've seen him with a couple matches. Richard, what are your thoughts? Chris Evans going in. We thought maybe he was gravitating away, but he's entering right in there. So we'll see. Will Austin Cole be a factor? You know, he just came off the no DQ match. Richie, what do you think? Chris Evans going into the Wild Card Rumble this early, making that announcement.
That's a big one. I didn't expect him to throw his hat in this quick, and especially if Austin Cole throws his hat in too along with him, you could see another team up there, another form of teamwork really pushing him further into the match. I mean, the experience factor is there, the pedigree is there with him being a former champion. It's regardless of the damage he's carrying right now from that no DQ match, I think he's still another person to watch in that match as well.
Most definitely. And then one, JP, I'm going to throw this one at you too, because I know you spoke to your history with a couple of them a little bit previously. Lawrence Tyler throws his name in the very first night that he's eligible to make it official. Throws his hat in before before the ring crew packs up and goes home.
That doesn't surprise me in the least. I mean, Lawrence is a guy who always has his eyes on the prize. He's always looking ahead to what's next for him. And I mean, we're talking experience here. I mean, Chris Evans is experienced, but LT, I mean, that guy is, I will go on record and say he is on the Mount Rushmore of Arizona's pro wrestling scene. I mean, he is one of the best ever to step foot in the state's rings. And I mean, he proved at Nova that there's still a lot of fight left in that dog. And I think, coming up at the Rumble, he's going to be a tough out, because that experience, that grit, that determination. I mean, you won't find too many people that have more of that in spades than Lawrence Tyler does.
Most definitely. And how crazy a couple of months can be, right? Or a couple of months can make things. Lawrence Tyler comes back, we assume, to retire. And now 2 months, later, after the bear's been poked, sounds like Pete the Heat might have really poked the bear, because he goes from potentially us speculating that he's going to retire to throwing his hat in the Wild Card Rumble to try to get a shot at the AWF Championship. What a difference a couple months makes.
Amen to that.
Absolutely.
Yep. But so if you're keeping score at home, we're on the tail end of it, but I'm just going to run through those again. So announced Rumble entrants: Jordan Cruz, Hammerstone, Evan Daniels, R3, Watson, Chris Evans, and Lawrence Tyler so far. Wow.
That's insane.
If this is the entree, I can't wait to see the main plate, because already off the bat, you've named some luminaries in the Arizona wrestling scene. Get your tickets, folks, because they are not going to last with names like this taking place in that match.
Not at all. And next week, we're going to have even more competitors who are jumping and throwing their hat into the 2021 Wildcard Rumble. But for now, that is all the time we have. For myself, Gabriel Anders, Richie Vegas, and JP, this is at Pro Wrestling AZ Weekly. You're listening to RGTR Red Bull Talk Radio. We thank you very much for joining us this week. We'll talk to you next week. And Richie or JP, rock, paper, scissors. Who wants to say bye to the people? How about you both?
Bye, everybody.
Drive safe and tip your friendly waiter. Good night.
Cool. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I greatly appreciate it.